Hello 105, my name is Brittany Teacher and today is Tuesday, March 17th, 2020. I'm here to do your Storytown lesson with you today. We're going to read pages 204 to 211 and then we're going to answer some questions in our Storytown workbook. So let's go ahead and open up to page 204 and get started. Before we begin reading the story, Gus and Grandpa, let's look over here on page 204 about the type of story we're going to read. This is a story called, this is in a genre called realistic fiction. Realistic fiction means that this exact story didn't happen, but it's based on things that could really happen, okay? So there's no unicorns and flying dragons or anything like that, but there are things that could happen in real life instead. So when you're reading for a realistic fiction story, look for characters who do things that real people do and story details that you know about from your own life, okay? So also, remember last time when we talked about prediction, we can make predictions about this story based on the information we read and information we know from our own lives. So work on reading with me, but also thinking ahead. Predict what you think might happen next, and that will help you with your workbook questions. Okay, let's begin. Gus and Grandpa and the two-wheeled bike. I'm going to read. I want you to listen, point, and repeat after me. Then try reading the story by yourself. Gus was the only kid on Maple Street who still had training wheels on his bike. Even Ryan Mason, who was the same age as Gus, had a bike with 5 speeds and no training wheels. Then Gus's mother and father gave him a brand new bike. It was as bright and shiny as Ryan Mason's, and it had no training wheels. Gus tried to ride the new bike while his father held onto the back. When his father let go for just a second, Gus crashed. The old bike. A few days and a few crashes later, Gus went to visit Grandpa at Grandpa's house. Grandpa's dog, Skipper, jumped up to lick him. Skipper didn't mind that Gus still rode a bike with training wheels. Gus and Skipper ran around Grandpa's yard until they were both panting. Panting is like this, breathing really heavy from running. Then, Gus sat down next to Grandpa and drank some of Grandpa's homemade root beer. "How's the bike riding coming along?" Grandpa asked. "I can't ride that new bike," Gus said. "It keeps on crashing." He pointed to his knees. He had a dinosaur bandage on the right knee. He had a monster bandage on the left knee. "I have an idea," Grandpa said. Okay, now we're at the end of our reading for today. So you just read part of a story about learning to ride a bike. Have you learned to ride a bike? Have you had any of the experiences that Gus has had? Have you fallen down while trying to learn how to ride a bike without training wheels? What do you think Grandpa's idea might be? Use prediction to help you make a good guess. Okay, now let's keep our Storytown book out. We're going to use it to help us answer some questions from our workbook. Our workbook, page 21. Comprehension. We're going to answer questions 1, 2, and 3 in our Storytown workbook. I'm going to show you how to answer these questions. Number 1, what will Gus do next? Again, this is prediction. Try to guess what you think Gus will do next. You need to begin your answer by saying, Gus will, or I think Gus will. Say, I think Gus will, blah, blah, blah. You don't have to be right. You don't have to use, to copy the answer from the book. It's your opinion, which means that you can use your own ideas. There's no right or wrong answer, as long as you use information from the story to help you come up with an answer. So for example, if you say something like, I think Gus will fly away in an alien spaceship. That's not right because this story isn't about aliens, okay? But if you tell me something that you think based on the story that you read, which is about a boy learning to ride a bike, then I will write that you are correct, okay? So we need to begin with, I think Gus will blah, blah, blah. I think Gus will blah, 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 blah. Use prediction. Use the story and your own real life experiences to help you. Number 2. Is Gus happy to be visiting his grandpa? How do you know this? Okay, we need to use the story to help us. In this case, we cannot just write our opinion because the correct answer is in the book. I'll give you a hint. We know that Gus is happy to visit his grandpa because of the information on page 209. Okay, so read page 209 again to help you come up with your answer. But we need to begin our answer with Gus, yes, Gus is happy. Yes, comma, Gus is happy to visit his grandpa because blah, 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 blah. Use the information on page 209 to help you write your answer. And last, number 3. What problem does Gus have? What problem does Gus have? Again, this one is not an opinion. You need to use the information from the story to help you write. So let's turn to page 206. The answer for number 3 is on page 206. You need to begin your answer by saying, Gus's problem is. Gus's problem is blah, 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 blah. Okay? So here are the beginning parts of the questions 1, 2, and 3. This is how you need to answer in your Storytown workbook. Number 1, I think Gus will, blah, blah. Number 2, yes, Gus is happy to visit his grandpa because, blah, blah, blah. Number 3, Gus's problem is, blah, blah, blah. Okay? Use your opinion, your prediction, and the story to help you answer these questions. Thank you for watching your Storytown lesson today. I will see you next time. Bye!